Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on another episode of our ongoing series, Humans of DHA. And joining me today is Larisa Barker, also a student of the Master of Science in Digital Marketing at Manchester Metropolitan University's e-learning branch. Larisa, welcome.
Hi, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to have you here. All right, so let's dive in. We'd like to hear a bit from your perspective on the industry and your learning journey, these two in particular. Let's start with the industry. What can you tell me about your current role?
Okay, so my current role is I have my own business as a brand and marketing consultant. So, and I mainly work in the industry of retail. So I work with some great retailers as clients, but also worked with some great brands as well. So in the fast-moving consumer goods, so Hallmark cards and electrical appliances. So across different industries. And I just find that, you know, within the role that I do, digital just plays such an important part. And it's here really where it's, you know, in terms of the studying and what I'm doing in terms of the studies is really helping me, you know, in terms of my actual living and the role that I do in my own business. So that's a little bit about my my current role. And, you know, the brand work, I think in the world that we live at the moment, there's some massive brands out there, but even businesses who have smaller brands, again, bringing those brands to life on a digital platform, whether it's on e-commerce or social media, there's so much happening in this area, and digital continues to evolve, which I find absolutely fascinating.
Pretty soon we're going to have to hire people just to keep up with stuff. You know, it's like you call your person and you're just like asking, okay, so what happened? Just catch me up in 5 minutes, because there's like so much going on in the different areas. Absolutely. All right, so how did you end up working in digital marketing?
So for myself, I started my career over 20 years ago, and I did start as a marketing assistant. And you can imagine back then, probably 20 years ago, there probably wasn't much digital happening. But again, I think, you know, as I've worked in different industries and different sectors, I have stayed in marketing, but I've seen marketing evolve and digital becoming part of the integrated communication channels. And so it's almost now I work in the role that I do, it's a blend of offline and online, but the digital side continues to grow. So I would say I don't just specialise or work in digital marketing. I actually work across all channels. I'm probably not an expert in all of them, but there's areas depending on the client and the brands where there is more emphasis either in a store environment, or it might be on the e-commerce platform and selling the products through the e-commerce platform. So I would say digital is just completely integrated in everything that I'm doing at the moment now. So it's not just digital, it's a part of marketing per se.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. It really, you know, goes to show how specifically, you know, it was almost kind of transition, like every strategy and everything just transitioned to the digital side, of course, with the necessary, you know, changes so they can adapt to their respective platforms. But essentially, you know, the concepts, the strategies, and all this remains the same. It's just how you can use them in their, different platforms.
Absolutely.
All right. So what is your view of the industry at the moment, with all the changes and, you know, everything that's going on and how integrated it has become, like you've said?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we all know it's growing, and it has probably more so even over the last year since the global pandemic, as we've seen many businesses and industries to survive have had to operate on the e-commerce platform to survive. So I think it's always been growing, as you said, but even more so probably in the last year. I think the industry is really fascinating as it continues to evolve. So, you know, to be the best in SEO, you know, you have to live and breathe that role and be really focused in your industry. We all know that the algorithm's always changing on Google, and, you know, if you want to rank the highest, you've just got to be in the game and live and breathe that part of that sector. And then you've got the social media platforms as well. So they're changing and innovating and attracting different audiences. And I think in one of my assignments, I quoted something from Statista where it was like 2.77 billion users, you know, on social media. And it's like, wow, it's global, it's everyone. And we all know that, but when you get a bit of context and numbers behind it, it's like, that is fascinating. And because I work closely with brands, I know brands are using social media to drive awareness, engagement, and also and drive, you know, customers or consumers through the funnel and have a clear call to action, so drive people to the website. And it's constantly evolving. And you know, I'd love to know where the digital industry will be in 10 years time. You know, it's evolved so quickly over the last 10 years. Where's it going to be in 10 years? So I just find that fascinating.
Right. Yeah. With everything going on and all the, you know, innovations, changes, you're saying that, okay, so yeah, social media reached its peak, boom, there's TikTok, you know, and it's like everyone's gone crazy. So yeah, it would be really interesting to see, like, in 10 years where everything evolves. What advice would you have for future graduates that are entering the digital marketing sector? Obviously, I think you've had a lot of experience with different brands, as you've said. So I think you really have an interesting and very diverse view of each, you know, sector, whether it's e-commerce or social media or any specific industry.
Mm-hmm. I think the advice I'd give if you are, you know, looking to go into the digital marketing sector is just to learn as much as possible. And it's almost, you know, learn in terms of either through studies or, you know, through journals or articles, or staying, you know, just looking at articles on LinkedIn. So really staying up to date, but having a good network as well. So, you know, have a network of people, again, who you can talk and discuss matters with, you know, in terms of digital. And so you're really kept up to date again. And also, if possible, try and get some real life examples in terms of working in that environment. So I think, you know, by having the three of studying, networking, and actually bringing some of what you're learning through to experience in real life, I just think, you know, is really important for a future role within digital marketing. And again, you know, it's having that interest in it. If you're interested in something, you naturally do that anyway.
Yeah.
But I do think with the studying, it's helped give me the confidence in terms of digital marketing and really living and breathing that a little bit more.
Right. And would you say that it offers enough opportunities for students?
Well, I think, you know, given the rate at which the digital sector is growing, you know, there's so many different channels within digital. So, you know, I know I spoke about integrated marketing, but even within digital, there's, you know, there's SEO, website, and, you know, there's social media, there's, you know, and content strategy and acquisition, retention, you know, there's so many different areas. And, you know, the benefit of my role is I get to play in all the different areas, but there isn't always that depth there. But some people will specialize in particular areas. So it's, I think, you know, it's really open, and that opportunity is there. I can only see it growing, you know, and that's why I'm doing this course, because I wanted to upskill and learn more.
Yeah. All right. And speaking of learning, how and why did you decide to study?
Yeah. Okay. So I mentioned I started my marketing career over 20 years ago. So there was very little information there about digital marketing, and we actually spoke about marketing as the World Wide Web. You know, it was very, very basic. And I've learned on the job, but really wanted to understand more in terms of strategy, and just to get some of that theory there. I also wanted to network with some of the industry leading experts in this area, and from studying with Manchester Met, it's allowed me to do that. You know, we had one assignment where we've got authors and leading experts in the industry, actually in all the modules, who will come and speak to us, and it's fascinating. So I just wanted to connect with those people and understand and learn from themselves. And I think what's really interesting in the course is hearing other students. So listening, to other students' real life experiences, or even, as part of their studying, what they're experiencing. I think it's really interesting. So you're learning so many different ways. And sometimes it's good to hear other students say, this has happened. And you're thinking, that happened to me as well. I'm not alone. And, it's good just to have that conversation. So I think, studying the digital marketing for me was absolutely the right thing to do. My only reservation is I wish I'd have done it a few years ago and probably started sooner. But hey, I'm here now, so I'm doing it and really enjoying it.
Right, that's what matters indeed. And you've mentioned like starting a good while back. How did you find the shift from working to studying?
So in my world, I'd say it's all connected. It's what I'm learning from studying, I'm bringing into work, and some of the experiences I've had through work, I'm bringing into the studying. So it's very connected and linked, but it's certainly given me the confidence to talk about digital with a bit more authority, because I feel like I understand it a bit more. And if I'm honest, I just love learning. So, it's really, really helped. So I think that shift is just seamless. It's very natural.
Right. So you've then obviously had little to no difficulty in balancing studying and working. So, it's...
I would say time, and I'm sure
Right.
it's just making sure that there's the time there, because again, I think there is that piece around balancing if you're working and studying, and but what I do believe with this course is it gives the flexibility to do both. So I'll often work through the week and then catch up at the weekend in terms of studying. And just before an assignment's due, I'll make sure that I've taken a week off work just to really get through the assignment and make sure I've given it the attention, and also balancing it with family life. I've got family as well. So, but it is perfect. It seems to work, and it's very, very flexible.
Right. That's really good to hear. And getting back a bit to the course, how are you finding this e-learning side of studying? Did it help, your current situation of working and, also having to take care of your family?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I find e-learning works for me, if I'm really honest, because of my other commitments, as I mentioned, family and work. And it gives me the flexibility to do what I want when I want to do it. I try and attend, there are weekly online discussions online, and I try and attend those. It's an hour or an hour and a half once a week. And I think I try and attend those to keep myself on track so I don't fall behind with the studying. And there's different, the great way in terms of the module and the way it's done is it's broken down by week. So there's certain tasks and sections within the module that we need to have looked at. So I find that really useful, because there is sometimes the challenge if you're not actually in a classroom environment as such and face to face, you can fall behind. But I find with this there isn't, because there's different steps and milestones along the way. And there's also the live discourse page as well, so you can post questions on there and communicate with the lecturers and other students. So again, it's really flexible and just suits the way that I learn, really, and the lifestyle that I've got.
That's great. Okay. And in terms of studying, or in terms of the course, what has been the biggest challenge to date?
I would say it is probably the time, just going back to time. But I'm a big believer, if you want to do something and be good at it, you make the time. And it's important to do that. I think, there's been a couple of modules where I've just thought, my goodness, I don't really know much about this area, and I've gone straight into master's level learning. But there is the support. with the lecturers and other students. And there's just so much to reference online and books and articles. And whilst I'm not proclaiming to be an expert, it certainly helped me get around an area that I'm not very familiar with. So yeah, I think it's the challenges are almost positives. If I'm honest, I wouldn't say there's anything that's really worried me. I mean, the other pieces as well is I've not studied for a long time. So for me, it was a bit of, right, I'm going to have to go back to the basics, learn how to reference again, and, you know, make sure my citations are correct. But again, when I joined the course, there was almost a section at the beginning that really helped me get back up to speed with all of that. So, you know, it's been fine. I'm really enjoying it.
All right. And, you know, based on this, and you seem, you know, really happy with what's going on and how everything, how well everything is structured. What is your proudest moment? What has this, you know, enabled you to achieve? What was your moment that, wow, I've really done this in the course?
Yeah, I think it's actually, you know, working really hard on the assignments, putting the effort in, and actually seeing the results, you know, in the assignments and getting the grades. And I am quite a competitive person, so I like to try and get good grades where I can. And I just think, you know, there are areas within this course that I just thought I don't really understand SEO when I'm coming into it new, but I seem to have done well in the assignments, and I'm really, really proud of that. So it just shows with learning, you don't have to know everything because you will learn it in the course. And I think it's just the hard work and everything, it all seems to be worthwhile. And I'm not saying it's easy, and, you know, I think the marking is very strict, but I think, you know, if you're willing to put the work in, you can do it and achieve what you want to achieve. And it's funny, actually, I constantly look back at my assignments almost as a reference point for myself with work as well, because yeah, you forget things. And but again, if I'm not sure about something else, it's almost my assignment summarizes what I've learned in a module, and I can reference that, and it just brings me up to speed a little bit again in terms of what I've learned, just because digital, as we said earlier, is so diverse and constantly changing.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And then finally, what advice would you give in terms of studying? So for people who might be thinking of studying digital marketing, first at a bachelor's level and then at a master's level?
I think if you are interested in a role in marketing, in either now or in the future, I can only see studying a digital qualification, no matter what level, you know, being a benefit. And again, I would see this as a personal investment as well. So again, I chose to do masters because it's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's, you know, it's a personal achievement for me. But also in digital marketing, where you've got an industry that continues to evolve. And I think to be in the game, you know, you need to be surrounded by, you know, the leading experts, industry experts, a community of people such as the students who you can speak to, bounce ideas off. And I just think, you know, studying will, you know, it's an investment for your future career. And again, you know, I just think learning, once you have a qualification, or even the journey of learning, is something very personal. But for me, nobody can ever take that away from me, and I'm very passionate about it. I'm really proud to be, you know, studying as well, and doing, you know, the master's level learning and the critical thinking, and getting the support from the lecturers. So I think it can really help you think strategically. And really challenge yourself, but in a really insightful and rich way, and engaging as well. So, you know, if you love learning, if you're interested in digital, I would say, you know, these courses are just brilliant for what you need going forwards.
All right, great. Well, Larissa, thank you so much for answering the questions and for taking the time to have this chat. And for everyone viewing us, thank you so much for taking the time to view us. Remember to follow us on social, and we'll see you in a bit.
Great, thank you. Take care.